How are you talking to yourself? How are you talking to yourself on a day-to-day basis? Do you know? Are you aware of what it is that you say to yourself when you're not fully aware, when you are not paying attention? What is going on in the back of your mind consistently? Are you aware of it? Because if you're experiencing people being disrespectful, being rude, not loving you the way that you would like to be loved, not communicating with you the way that you'd like someone to talk to you, if you're experiencing people treating you a certain way, ask yourself, how have you been treating yourself? How have you been talking to yourself? How have you been viewing yourself? If you've been looking in the mirror, paying attention to all your flaws, if you've been hard on yourself for things that have been challenging or mistakes that you've made in the past, if you've been really hard on yourself and not able to forgive yourself, not able to let go, this is all a part of the internal conversation, the self-talk. Now, for most people that don't have a mindfulness practice, a practice in which they spend time really listening, hearing, and sitting in stillness, you may not realize what is happening within you. You may not realize the automatic conversations that happen in your head. But what if I told you once you change your self-talk, life will change? I have this friend that says how much time she doesn't have, how there's not enough time to get things done. And as her friend, as an observer, as a listener to her conversations, I noticed that that was where she was directing her attention. That's what she was saying, not only to me, but to herself. And I firmly believe in affirmations, in prayer, the power of self-talk, the power of the vibration of our voice. Whatever we say on a regular basis, consistently, we start to believe and we start to take action towards fulfilling that belief. And eventually see that it manifests in our real life, proving to ourselves what we were saying in the beginning is exactly what is happening. And then you get into this state of what came first, the chicken or the egg. Your external environment manifesting and showing you what you've been saying to yourself, or what you've been saying to yourself manifesting and coming into this reality. There is power in your words. There is power in the intention behind your words. I invite you to pay attention to how you speak to yourself, how gentle you are to yourself, how loving you are to yourself, how empowering you are to yourself, how encouraging you are to yourself. It is easier to be other people's best friends than to yourself. But start to see how you can be your own best friend. Start to see how you can communicate with yourself as lovingly as you would want a partner to communicate to you. Because at the end of the day, what you're experiencing out in your external world is what is happening, what you're saying to yourself, what you're believing to yourself, what's happening within. Your life is just showing it to you in different ways. I was listening to this podcast, and the guest was talking about the nursery. And being a doula, I have experience with being in hospitals and welcoming babies into this world and seeing how all of them are literally these brand new beings filled with so much wonder, so much love of life in their eyes. So in this podcast, the guest said that they spent time in the nursery. And so they told a story about two babies. They start to give an example of two babies. 2 newborn babies laying there in a nursery, eyes wide, taking in all the sights and sounds, adjusting to this new body. And then life starts lifing. Those 2 babies are raised. They grow up. One becomes successful in the eyes of what society would believe is successful. The other one becomes homeless and in the eyes of society has nothing going for them. And those 2 were the same 2 babies laying next to each other in the nursery. And as he continued talking, he mentioned that the only difference with the 2 of them, with the 2 babies that grew up to be these 2 adults, the self-talk. What they heard when they were young is what was installed into their beliefs, into their belief system within their subconscious, which then turned into their own internal voice. So as adults now, we have the power to change that. That's why they talk about reprogramming. You have the power to change what is running within your mind. What you may have heard or may not have heard. You have the power to start talking to yourself in that way. You have the power to stop talking to yourself in that way and changing the narrative. We are all abundant as soon as we come into this world. We don't need to strive to get this or get that, be better here. We are already all of that. We have just forgotten it based off of our upbringing, environments, circumstances, situations. We are all starting off as beautiful, abundant babies, filled with life, filled with wonder, filled with curiosity. So how are you talking to yourself now? Start to notice, start to shift and adjust if it's a conversation that you don't want to have anymore. Check out this other video here. Would love to hear your thoughts, comments on what I've been sharing and how you have been talking to yourself. I hope you stick around. Until next time, peace.